Hi, I'm Sarah, I'm 30, and I have an amazing 10-year-old son named Jake. I'm married to the love of my life, John. He's 38, and we have the most adorable baby together. Our little one is just 1 year old. We live in a small town. I met John 6 years ago when I was 24, and he was 32. We met on the phone, and I liked him right away. We chatted on the phone for many weeks before we finally met in person. When we did meet, we were both really happy and started dating right away. John had never been married before, and didn't have any children either. I had been married before, but my first marriage didn't work out. I was married before, but my first marriage didn't work out. I had a son from my first marriage, but I felt good with John. He made me happy. John told me about his past. He told me he had a girlfriend before me. He lived with her for 4 years, but they never got married. John said he was the one who left her. He also told me about a girl he loved before he went to the army. The army said they were very young, only 16 or 17 years old. John said she was his first love. He loved her very much, but when he went to the army, she didn't wait for him. She left him, and he was very sad. His mother told me that John never stopped thinking about her. I was curious about this girl, and wanted to know more about her. John didn't talk much, but I could see in his eyes that he missed her. I was curious about her, but sometimes I could see in his eyes that he missed her. I wanted to ask him questions, but I didn't want to make him upset. I didn't want to talk about the past too much. I wanted to focus on our future together. One day, John invited me to his apartment. I was excited to see where he lived. I went to his apartment with my son Jake. When I entered the apartment, I was taken aback by its old-fashioned charm. It was clear that it needed a bit of TLC, with some repairs here and there. The furniture was a bit dated, but it had a cozy lived-in feel. I couldn't help but wonder why John's apartment was in such a state. Surely he must have worked to afford a nicer place? He didn't offer much of an explanation. He simply said that he'd lived with his parents for many years, and hadn't had the chance to spruce up the apartment. John used to enjoy a beer or two with his friends. He would often sit in the park and enjoy a drink. He also brought different girls to his apartment. They were only there for one night. John didn't mention any of this to me. I was surprised when I heard this. He had a card from his first girlfriend that she gave him when he went to the army. He kept it as a memory. One day on New Year's Eve, John and I decided to go to the city center. We wanted to see the lights and enjoy the holiday. When we arrived in the city, John saw someone I didn't understand at first. He walked away from me and Jake, and went to stand far away by himself. I looked and saw that he was watching. A woman was with her husband. She looked very familiar. It was John's first love. He was watching her, and he seemed sad. I felt strange. Why was he standing alone? Why was he watching her? He didn't talk to me for a few minutes. I was confused. I thought he still loved her. I thought he cared more about her than about me. Maybe I was just imagining. I started to think about everything. Maybe John still loved his first girlfriend. Maybe that's why he was never happy with me. I tried to talk to him about it. I asked him, "Do you still love her? Do you think about her often?" John got angry. He said, "You are imagining things. You are not thinking straight." But I wasn't. Oh, he kept talking about her sometimes. I couldn't understand why he cared so much about her. Why did he keep asking about her life? I didn't know what to think. John also talked to her brother. He asked him about her life. He wanted to know what she was doing, where she worked, and who she was with. This made me upset. I didn't know why he cared so much about her. I was so confused. John's mother also talked about his first love. She said that Jan loved her so much that he was very sad when she left him. Every time she said this, it made me feel bad. It was like I didn't matter to Jan. It was like I was not as important as his first love. I began to feel lonely. I wanted John to focus on our family and our life together, but it felt like he was always looking back at the past. John started to act a little distant. He didn't talk to me much, and he didn't smile as much as he used to. I wondered if he was thinking about her. I tried to talk to him again. I said, "John, do you still love her?" But he said, "You are imagining things again." I didn't know what to believe. I wanted to believe him, but sometimes it felt like he was hiding something. I thought about everything, and I thought about my life with John. I loved him, but it felt like he didn't love me as much as he loved her. Maybe he would never stop thinking about her, and maybe he would never love me the way he loved her. I didn't know if I could live with that. I didn't know if I could. I just couldn't live with a man who was always thinking about his past. I didn't want to feel like I was second best. I didn't want to feel like I was not enough for him. I wanted to feel loved and important. I wanted to know that I was the one he cared about the most. But I just didn't feel that way anymore. After thinking for a long time, I made a decision. I decided to talk to Jan one more time. I asked him, "Do you want to stay with me or do you want to go back to her?" Jan was surprised by my question. He said, "What do you mean? I love you." But I didn't believe him anymore. I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel important to him. I knew it was time for me to make a change. I decided to leave John. I told him that I couldn't. I just couldn't live like this anymore. I told him that I needed to be with someone who loved me, someone who cared about me and my family. It was hard, but I knew it was the right choice. I couldn't live in the shadow of his first love. I couldn't be with a man who would always love someone else more than me. If you enjoy the story, please like, subscribe, and share.